Hi there. I just wanted to go over a few tips on how to organize an essay. For the third unit, we will be utilizing all of the organization and the shape and focus skills that you have already read about in the lecture for Unit 3. So I just wanted to go over a few little tips so you are ready to make the best essay you can, or to write the best essay you can for English 101. So I just want to backtrack just a moment. Make sure that you have read all of the lecture information in the course, because it kind of goes over the different parts of each essay and what the expectations are going to be. And also there are some good resources in there, as well as some videos to watch. So these are just some of the highlights that I am giving you, but the full lecture is, what the expectation is for students here. So moving on, I just want to go over some of the parts of a typical essay. And this format you're going to follow for most of the rest of the essays in English 101. If you consider the first essay that you wrote for this course was the personal narrative, which is a little bit different. That's considered more of an informal essay. And also it was written from first person point of view, because it was just it's kind of a nice way to get back into writing, kind of knock off some of the dust or some of the rust, if you will, if you haven't written in a while, or just to kind of get some of that anxiety about writing an essay and submitting an essay. So that's one of the reasons that we choose the personal essay as the first one, because it helps students, just kind of get more into the flow of writing an essay each week, which is what we do in this short 8-week English 101. So as we shift to more academic essays, this first one, the organization essay, you want to shift from first person point of view, which when you were writing that essay, you were saying, I went on a trip. This is how I felt about it. But as we move toward academic essays, you're going to leave out those pronouns of I or me or our or us, or any of those types of first person, because we shift to really the third person point of view, that way of writing. And honestly, that once we move to that academic writing, then we really just start eliminating all of the pronouns, because pronouns aren't very direct, and they can sometimes be confusing to the reader of who that we're talking about. So when you're writing your personal narrative, we knew who we're talking about because you wrote it and you're saying I. But a lot of times writers want to write like they speak. So pronouns like we or even you slip in there. So that'll just be something that we start to move away from. It's just eliminating all personal pronouns. So as we start from the beginning, you may have remembered this. You may have remembered something, a visual like this from elementary school or even high school, just that sandwich idea of an essay. And I put this in here, it's not the best graphic, but I put this in here just kind of as a visual reminder of what we're looking for. We still do kind of look at having all of the different elements in each of your essays, even as we move toward the week 7 essay and it gets longer. It's a 6-page essay. We're still going to have these key ingredients, if you will, for the essay. You're going to have an introduction. You're going to have the body paragraphs, and then you're going to have a conclusion. Now, this is a typical 5-paragraph structure that most high schools teach students. So as we move to the academic level, at the college level, this is still the similar structure that you want to keep in mind. You need to have all of those. But what ends up changing as you get into more complicated essays there's more body paragraphs. The introduction may also include, some other information to that needs to be provided for if it's a technical report or something like that. So we keep adding to this. We still have this basic format, but then we keep adding to it. So, and looking at this in a more academic way and kind of breaking it down to what your essay is going to look at, we're still going to have an introduction, which is going to have that hook or that attention-grabbing statement, and it's going to end, that introductory paragraph is going to end with a clear thesis statement, okay? Then your body paragraphs are each going to cover a different topic. So for this essay, students were given the suggestion of writing, there were like 3 or 4 in the assignment information of the different type of some different thesis statements that you can pick, some kind of like starter statements. And one of them is picking, a place that's the best place to raise a family. So if I were going to write an essay about Ohio is the best place to raise a family, I'm going to have a thesis statement in that introduction. And then I'm going to have 3 main topic sentences, or I'm sorry, 3 main topics that are going to build those body paragraphs that revert back to that or refer back to that thesis statement. So if Ohio is the best place to raise a family, my first topic might be about the weather. We experience all 4 seasons, and there's positive parts about all 4 seasons. Sometimes in Ohio, we experience all 4 seasons in a day, especially in the springtime. But anyway, so I would have a topic, I could have a whole paragraph about the weather and why that is good for raising families. Then I could have about I'm trying to think of something. Maybe I want to say activities. There's plenty of local activities in this area to raise a family. That could be my second paragraph. And maybe the third paragraph are, maybe there are, I could say something about job opportunities, let's say. So then I would have 3 different things I'm going to explore that are going to support my thesis, and that's going to be where my body paragraphs build. First body paragraph would be about weather. Second body paragraph would be about family activities. Third paragraph would be about job opportunities. And then I'm going to bring it all together with a conclusion. I just want to say one thing about, I have on here, restate the thesis. That doesn't mean just completely say the exact same thing again, but you're going to bring that point back home for the reader. You're going to kind of put it all back together. It's like, hey, remember at the very beginning of this essay, I said I was going to talk about how Ohio is the best place to live because of these 3 things. So I'm going to kind of summarize that, kind of re-emphasize those are the points that I wanted to make. Okay? So let's break down some of these things. So one of the first things that you're going to be working on when you first start any kind of an essay is coming up with a thesis statement. So in our lecture, we have kind of this formula that we're going to keep building on as we go through the course. But this is a good place to start, especially for this first essay. Okay, so the thesis statement is really 2 basic things, and really I like to say kind of 3 as we move on to the tougher essays or the more in-depth essays. But what is the essay about, which is the topic, and then what is your own insider assertion about the topic. So in the example here on the screen, it's about older dogs and how they make good family pets. The example that I gave previously was about how Ohio is the best place to raise a family. So, and then, so I'd be talking about Ohio, and then the claim is it's the best place to raise the family. I could add in that third part of saying Ohio is the best place to raise a family because of the weather, the family activities, and job opportunities. Then that could be my whole thesis statement. Okay, and then I can really build my essay around that. So in looking at the first paragraph of your essays, this introduction, is we start off more broad, and that's why I like this visual here of the upside down triangle, because we're starting off very broad. So this could be, some kind of a bold statement. Some people call it a hook. I think our lecture calls it attention grabber. What is going to make the reader want to keep reading? Okay, so then you're going to have some introductory remarks. Okay, and then that last sentence is going to be the thesis statement. Okay, and you want to think about the introduction is going to be 4 to 6 sentences. Okay. Then as we move from the introductory paragraph, then we have those body paragraphs. And this is going to be the heart of the essay. It's the longest part. This is where you're going to give all of that evidence. Most of the essays that we write, except for the week 7 research essay, I don't want you to use any kind of research. That's why we give those topic starters in the course, for especially for this first essay. If you could pick, I could give an example about raising a family. I think there's things in there about different kinds of cars, or so any of those, just because it's going to be about something that you already know and you know well. So I really don't even want you to have any research, because I want you to focus in on the formatting of the essay in these first few essays. Okay, but just as a reminder that each paragraph is going to focus on one topic. So for my example essay, I'm going to have a paragraph about the weather, I'm going to have a paragraph about family activities, and I'm going to have a paragraph about job opportunities. And then each of those paragraphs are going to have 4 to 6 sentences. And if you notice on the graphic, each of them are going to have some type of topic sentence. So you want to be able to show the reader what this is going to encompass in this paragraph. I'm going to talk about the weather. Okay. So I mean, that would be too basic of a topic sentence. But you understand what I mean. All right, then our end of our essay is going to be the conclusion. So again, it says, to restate the thesis, not in the exact way, but just you're coming back to the main points of that thesis to make sure that you have come up with how you want to end this essay. You want to give this visual image, this vivid image to your reader. All right, and the last thing you're going to want to do before you submit this essay is really proofread. And this is where students sometimes, it'll make a difference between a B or an A, or a C and a B, is spending that time proofreading. So one of the first things to help you proofread is starting your essay early enough. Each week we have assignments that are due on Sunday night at 11:59 Eastern Time. Starting an essay at 10 p.m. right before a due date is probably not the best method of getting the grade that you want. So I do really encourage you to start it at least a day ahead of time, because one of the things, the second point I want to make here, is it's being able to take a break. I don't know very many people who can sit down and write a perfect essay. I know that I cannot. It is usually at least a 2-day process, but you need to figure out for yourself what that 2 days means for you. And I'm wondering if this is... Okay, I just wanted to see. I think it's missing my title, but that's okay. So having someone else read it is really a great strategy. If you have a trusted friend, a colleague, a roommate, a spouse, a child, adult child, or someone who's really good at that, I suggest having that. Also, we have free tutoring. The information is in the course. It's called Brain Fuse. That takes about 24 to 48 hours to get feedback. And then I also suggest having something like Grammarly. It's a free site. It's an extension you can put on your internet browser. You can even have it on your phone. You can have it on your computer. And it is very helpful of catching not only just misspellings, but just kind of questionable just sentence structure. So it's very, the free version is very basic. It's not going to catch everything, but it will catch maybe some of the bigger things that might reduce your grade. So I have this graphic on here of looking at some of the things. Again, it's kind of that upside down triangle, if you will, and looking at, looking at it more broader. Does, are you meeting the requirements of the essay, and then looking then smaller going into spelling and grammar would be the last ones to look at. So here's just some general tips. Again, there's more broad information in the course, but I just wanted to kind of give you some information personally, and I wish you good luck on writing this essay.